This is Recruiting Unfiltered. He's a Division I player.
Committed for suicide, basically.
We're going to cover the full gamut. Now, roster limits actually become a detriment.
High school athletes need to really open their eyes.
We are here to talk everything recruiting. Recruiting Unfiltered. All right, guys, welcome into Recruiting Unfiltered. Every single week, different guests, different topic. And this week, well, we always welcome in our guy, Executive Director at NSR, Larry Perrin, and I'm Sean Salisbury, your National Football Director at NSR. But we are here to always inform and educate. Larry, welcome in, brother. I know we've now been through the football and the Super Bowl season. It's a week behind us now. But football season never ends. And today's topic of talking about tape, and we talk about what we watch when we're players against opposing teams. But the focus today will be on watching tape and putting your tape together, your recruiting tape together. So when recruiters in any sport look at it, they say, that's the way it's supposed to be done. Aside from that, my man, off season, but football never has an off season. Good to have you on today.
Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, there is no off season in recruiting. It's in fact, one class just finished up, the next class is up. So it's ongoing and continuous. And you know, in football, as in so many other sports, video is such a crucial element and a part of that recruiting process that gets them actually into the process. It's where the coaches start a lot of times to evaluate the athlete. It certainly is where we start to evaluate the athlete to determine if they have a skill set that translates to the college game. So, yes, no offseason in football, no offseason in recruiting.
No doubt about it. Larry, you know, I have talked to, and we're going to give you some examples today, folks, of what to do. And it's not we're not trying to embarrass anybody or trying to get to a point where we say what you've done in the past is wrong. And obviously there will be no names on this, but just to try to give you an idea of how to maximize. We're trying to create your bandwidth and increase it, as are you, when it comes to, listen, you take care of your options. You do good in school. You do good in your sport. You have more options and more schools to go to. It's the same thing here. If you're presenting something, you want it to be your best. And so when somebody opens it up and looks at it. Now, Larry, and they'll open it up and look at it. Larry, you and I have been doing this a long time, and I have talked to plenty of coaches, coordinators, head coaches, position coaches, that if it's one of those that becomes you're doing it for the Grammy Awards or an award show, and you got it with all the bells and whistles, that they will turn it off. And if your best stuff's at the end and it becomes a music video and you're saving the best for the crescendo to close it out, they won't get to it. And I have talked to them. So you got to catch them. You got to do it right. And remember, with this tape, it's about listen, even if you have bad form, running a 40, but you run it 4.2, guess what? Nobody's going to complain. That's why you want your best stuff. You want them to see your best stuff because they are watching football, volleyball, baseball. They're watching you to find out exactly what you're doing when you line up and play. So I would imagine you doing the same. And Larry, before you comment, let's play this. This is one probably that you shouldn't do. And you come out and talk to me because I know you talk to coaches all the time and you probably get the same result. Have a look and a listen.
As a quarterback, I feel like it's my job to be the biggest team player on the team and help everyone when in need. Like after a play, if someone does something wrong and they're feeling bad about it, I say, keep your head up, just get it the next play, you'll do better. Just like any other quarterback, my dream is obviously to recruit like one of the big schools in New Jersey. I feel that I can compete with all the players on the team and all the other quarterbacks out there playing for the other schools. My greatest strengths as a quarterback and cornerback are that I'm strong, I'm fast, I'm agile.
All right, Larry, analysis, please. I listen, I understand when you're giving like a personal testimony, but we're talking first off, which is, listen, I love kids' creativity because I'm not as creative as they are. I do, but I also know as a coach what you're looking for. Analyze what you just saw and why.
I'm gonna do this in two ways. I'm gonna analyze it from my perspective as a scout, and then I'm gonna hit it from a coach's standpoint. My perspective as of a scout, especially at the quarterback position, and then that little clip there at corner. I never was able to see formations, footwork. I never was able to see eyes reading the defense, making decisions, pre-snap, that sort of stuff. And then I was not able to really grasp his arm strength because I was not able to see him plant his foot and throw. He was letting go of the ball behind the line of scrimmage. You couldn't tell his footwork, all of that sort of stuff. So it's very hard to evaluate it as a scout. Number one. Number two is if I'm a college coach, he lost me. The first two clips, it never got to any playing, any game clips. It was him talking, that sort of thing. A college coach wants to see football clips immediately, and they want to spend that 3 minutes doing their quick evaluation to determine if this athlete can play at their level and can meet their scheme, what schematics that they're doing. Does he match what they're trying to do? So, that's my take on this particular clip.
Yeah, and kids and parents out there doing it, I can tell you this, and I know sometimes we want to dress it up to make it look. So NSR obviously is as scouts get that done right, but I guess you got to think in the terms of what grabs the coach. Why is he looking at this tape? Is he looking at it because he wants you to be, to be the videographer for the college, or is he looking at it because he wants to find out? And this is not an arrogant statement, Larry. You probably say the same thing. I can tell in about 10 throws, watching a kid, if now the evaluation needs to go further in my box in my program. And you know what? And I would think, I know when I'm watching, I don't just want to see the same thing. Can you move? How quick is the setup and the quick game? And then getting back with a hitch and movement and reset, all those things that Larry talked about behind. We want to see maximize the eyes that are watching you. And in that case, if you don't catch them quickly, they're going to go on to the next kid who does. Because if 1,000 kids are doing it the same way, you're going to get bunched together and looking for not the one that sticks out because your music's better, the one that sticks out because you're a better player. Now, here's the opposite of that. The kind of the opposite of that, and then we're going to get to a couple more volleyball videos that have done the way you need to do. Have a listen to this one as well.
Hey Coach, my name is Guillermo Torres. I'm a 2023 dual sport football and track athlete from Arlington High School in Tennessee. My goal is simple. I want to compete in both sports at the collegiate level. I feel I have the skill set of football to bring value to your program as a receiver, DB, and certainly as a kick returner. I was an all-region performer and I am primed to have an awesome senior year. I'm also a state-ranked sprinter and was top 5 in the state last spring and plan to be ranked higher this year. Coach, I know I'm not the biggest guy out there, but I can guarantee that you will not find a harder worker or someone with my desire to achieve these goals. I am a 4.0 student, so I prepared myself academically to set myself apart from the crowd. Thank you for taking the time to view my bio. I hope to hear from you soon and to learn more about how I would be best fit in your program.
It's a screen to Torres. He's got bouncing to the outside. Gabriel Torres down the sideline. Goodbye, baby. Touchdown, Arlington.
All right, Larry. My first thought of that, if it's an introductory video to getting a coach to watch your tape, at least when he was the voiceover part of it, I was watching video and there was a spot shadow to show who I was watching. Got right to the point. Showed us when he's running the 100 meters. Showed us that he's making a play. Showed us that he's blocking a kick. The visual, even with somebody voicing it over, and you tell me if you're different from my vantage point, at least I got to see a little bit like the quickness off the edge in the special teams play. I got to see that. And always don't ever shrink yourself when you're selling yourself. Make sure you don't do that. So Larry, I don't know, a little bit different perspective from you, from the coaching point and from the scouting point, and your idea when you're watching it to see if he belongs at NSR.
Well, I've got a unique perspective on this because Gabriel was my athlete, and Gabriel's game was about speed. We didn't, he was not the biggest athlete out there. He was very fast. In fact, right now he's a Division I college sprinter. He's ranked in the NCAA sprints right now. So what we wanted to do in this video is to showcase his speed. And I think we did that with the one where he came off the edge and blocked the kick, where he had a kick return and you saw separation. And then the final clip there where he's taking that screen to the house, you really see that he's leaving guys behind. He's separating from people. So that video was to showcase his speed. And of course, you got to learn a little bit more about him, his academic profile, a little bit about his journey. But man, it was a good clip. It was good film, and it was effective because I know this one worked because the young man had multiple football offers, and he chose a Division I track offer, and he's thriving in that world right now. So, but what grabbed me the most about Gabriel's footage, even when I was scouting him, was how can we make his speed translate on video where coaches can really see that, and that can be the marquee point that we're trying to get across.
Yeah, Larry, from my vantage point, just that's the first time I've seen that. What stuck out to me is that if you were trying to accentuate, even if you didn't tell me that was it, I would think, oh, they're trying to show me his speed. And it stuck, and which makes me say, okay, I got to see more. And that's the whole thing. You want them to see, to say, you know what, here, I'm putting this over here. That's a guy who I think can play for me. I want to see more. And then they get deeper into the football and then and how you respond laterally and all the things in football or track. I thought it was excellent. And as we move forward in this, Larry, and folks, this is just education. Larry's the executive director at NSR. I'm the national football director at NSR, is to enhance every opportunity that you may get. And don't kid yourself, tape and evaluation is where it starts. That's exactly where it starts. Without it, it's hard to move forward or get eyes and ears on you the way that you want to. So with that, so that did improve, and it got my attention. Now I'm like, oh, okay, now I see this 40-yard dash, 100-meter dash, and the guy can be a special teamer. I saw him get on the edge on a screen. Now I'm on to something and want to see more. We do that in our business, and this too is the podcast. You tease what's up next to intrigue people, and it's the same thing with coaches and, quite frankly, in life. Okay, before we get a couple of these volleyball tapes, Larry, in football since those are the two we've seen, first off, tell me one thing that you absolutely, if you're a coach and you're sitting in your office, the tape gets sent to you, give me one thing. And by the way, as I back up a little bit, it doesn't need to be 8 minutes or 6 minutes. People lose interest. It's on television. You can look at ratings of the first half of a show and the second half. People want stuff, and we've lost patience nowadays. We don't have people want stuff now on the urgent, and they want it, and they want to turn it over now. If you make a 2-minute video and you're saying that's not enough, if you get the good stuff up front, it's plenty. And the analytics and metrics of it will show that. You know, save the highlight film when you got all your buddies sitting around. So remember when I was dominant? Remember back in the day when you go back 10 years and show your buddies that you competed against that are now your college or buddies, and you're married, and you're sitting around and having the fun and showing them how great you were? That's fine. 2 minutes, 2:30, 1:45, 2:15. That's where you live. Stay in that space. All right, Larry, so what's the one thing you absolutely say, don't put on that tape, or I'm not, once I see it, I got to turn it off?
I'm not a big loud music fan. That's number one. If I hear music on it, I'm hitting mute so I can watch the film. If you're an interior lineman, offense or defensive lineman, I need to see a halo on you if I can get it, so I can pick you out when the play is going on. If you're getting the ball, and I know you're a running back or you're a wide receiver or something, I don't really need it. I can follow the ball. But if you're an interior lineman, there's a lot of clutter in there, so that halo helps me separate that clutter. Again, put your best clips at the beginning, and then be smart about your clips. If you're a wide receiver, show some good clips where you're getting separation from the field, taking the top off the defense, where you're getting yards after the catch, but then throw me in some blocking clips. I want to see you block. I want to see you stalk block. If you're a DB, I want to see you get in phase with the athlete when you're in man coverage. I want to see you up close and press, and I want to see how you open your hips and how athletic you are in zone coverage. So, And again, your speed is number one. If you have speed, let's highlight the speed. Number two is quickness and get off from the O line and D line point of view. Technical skill set, stepping in the box, from an offensive line, pass blocking or power blocking. What's your first step? Do you take misreads, missteps at linebacker? I want to see all of these things. So just keeping the best clips at the beginning, and then putting in some things that are good that you do well. But don't make it a 7. I'm not reading Canterbury Tales to watch somebody on film. I want the Cliff Note version at the beginning. So that's pretty much it, Sean.
And guys, with that in mind, this isn't for just to say it for us. This is to enhance your opportunity. That's all. Listen, after being in it for 40 years for me and Larry, the same, that you start to hear what people want and what they don't. It's like anything, the modern trends in fashion, what we do in sports, how we've changed rules for quarterbacks. It's the same thing in your recruiting. They're looking for specific stuff at specific positions. They want to get to it quickly so they can move to the next guy. And then it gets down, as the comparison phase in your recruiting will come to fruition, and they will remember what they saw early in your tape. They won't get to the one late in your tape. And I'll tell you one thing that I say, you don't have to do this, folks. Matter of fact, I would have a tendency to want to turn the tape off if I was a coach. Now, you'll have to talk to them about that, but I know some that would. Spot shadow, Larry's talking about the halo on the interior spot shadow, so I know who I'm looking at, because sometimes it's grainy tape, and as clear tape as you can get's great, but sometimes you can't. Not everybody can hire a professional. I get that. So make sure we know who we're looking at, but you don't have to say, look at this great play. Yeah. Watch this. Wow. Boom. The onomatopoeia that Batman and Robin used. Don't do that. Don't. I'm watching your tape. You don't need to tell me to watch your tape. It's like if I'm a broadcaster on the Super Bowl. A guy drops back and throws the ball 20 yards over his receiver's head. The broadcaster, and they do it, doesn't have to tell me that he threw it over his head. I know he threw it over his head because I'm actually watching. Now, you could tell me why he threw it over his head. Mechanics, ball came out late, dropped out of slot, threw the ball from the wrong arm angle. Great. Now you're teaching me. By telling me to watch something I'm already watching after you've spot shouted him, that's who I'm watching, because it's your tape and I'm trying to find out if I'm going to recruit you. Stay away from all the artwork and the music. Spot shadow, give us your guy, give who you are, and put your best stuff at top, and have you doing multiple things, Larry. You go ahead. You had another comment? Yeah.
Well, and there are certain sports where coaches do want to eventually see you play off the ball. Like if it's basketball, right. They want to see what your movement is like off the ball. But that doesn't need to happen on the initial highlight reel. I want the highlight reel to trigger them to ask for additional film where they can see you off the ball. Coaches have access to Huddle and other accounts where they can go in and watch full game footage. I want them to use this highlight film as the trigger that gets them to that next level where they want to see you work off the ball. But just want to bring that up too, Sean. Highlight videos are here to do a specific thing. They're here to make that coach want to see more.
Yeah, no doubt. And Larry, real quick before we show you a couple great examples in the volleyball world of tape, and it's phenomenal. I remember I was on the field training a quarterback, training him. This was about 3 years ago, and Mike Leach, God rest his soul, one of my very dear friends, had an interest in a quarterback I was training. And we were on the field literally, and I had my phone. I sent him a text that I'm working with your guy today. And Mike sent a message. I said, what would you like to see? And Mike sent me a message back and said, I'd like this, and after we'd gone through it all. And then he threw a couple of the stuff that we would call boring stuff, little shallow cross, Larry, mesh play, throw the flat. I want to see him throw the now screen, how quickly the ball after snap comes out when he catches it, the accurate stuff, because everybody wants to throw deep and show the off schedule behind the back throw and all the spectacular. These guys want to see boring. So I sent Mike the tape. He sent back, said, let me see a few of these. Bam. Literally, that's how quickly he viewed it. We were on the field an hour. He'd viewed the tape twice that I sent him during water breaks and answered it back. Now, that's in a different world relationships, but my point was he was looking for specifics, as Larry's talking about, whether it's off the ball and hoops, whether it's the way you bump or set in volleyball, movement for a softball pitcher, for a golfer, your takeaway. And if you just bogeyed the previous hole, this is a birdie after a bogey. All those things that you want them to say can handle pressure. Great mechanics under pressure. Didn't get down after a bad play. We all have them. Just make sure your best is what they can see. Now switching to the volleyball world, but the same thing. And I'm sure that for some, like, okay, how do you put a volleyball video together so it teases, so the coaches want to see more? Here's a couple examples. And Brett, the producer, who's the best in the business, we can run these back to back just so you get an idea. And then Larry and I can come out and comment on why this works. This is good stuff, guys. Now, a couple things. One, when you don't hear music or anything going, that's okay. Those coaches like that. They're sitting in their office, they're watching it. Don't think that because nobody's talking or music or you didn't hear the crowd that they're not. Matter of fact, they're probably even focused more in. The two things that stuck out for both of them, Larry, and there's a lot that did, is how urgently and rapidly you saw play after play after play, spike after spike after spike on those hitters were it's not like it wasted time and going around dapping people up in between. It went from hit, constant. So if you're sitting there watching and you're a volleyball coach and you got to go through 25 girls tape and you still got your own staff meetings and you got to get to the next one, you got to go to a high school and recruit, and you see that, you got to see a whole bunch in a short period of time, Larry. I thought both were very good, urgent, without being hurried, so that they could actually see it and get an idea. And now they can start to look at, oh man, look at that vertical. Look at that. All those things that come into play in the timing of the jump. It was impressive. And I like how rapidly they got that stuff in a hurry.
Yes, absolutely. There's two things that stood out for me on this. On the young lady on the first cut, we saw basically whoever her setter is, she needs to be going to college because she sets
no doubt.
And her anticipation and her timing was so good, and her power and her approach jump was so good. But I'd like to
explosive, right, Larry? I saw everything I needed to see on the explosive part.
Except one thing, I didn't see her playing defense. I didn't see her jump touch. I didn't see her blocking at the net and that sort of thing. I didn't see her off the ball, which could come later. But I want to see some digs in there. I want to see her hustle factor as well. The second clip, you saw attacking, you saw spiking, you saw blocking at the net. You saw a little bit more about the athlete as well. In volleyball, though, it does not bother me that they've got the microphones open and I'm hearing the crowd in the
energy.
back.
Agreed.
But if you overlay that with music, it takes my focus away from what the athlete is doing. So don't just put the film up there and let this film speak for itself. We do not need a concert going on while I'm trying to watch clips on a kid.
Right. Right. I love that nap sound, though. There was one that didn't. The first one did, which also kind of gives you the energy in the building, right? Exactly. And basketball players, you can watch that volleyball and learn a lot from what Larry just said, too. I'm just using basketball, for instance, is we all are intrigued. The long ball in baseball, offensive in basketball, shooting threes, scoring points. You saw volleyball, great spikes, her approach, her explosiveness at the net in the first video is don't forget that we also want to see all the other stuff. Maybe that don't leave out something that some, and you know what, through that video, she got that, the setter, somebody along the line, because it's going to look and say, I love the explosiveness of that spike. Who's that? I've had that happen where I had one guy in a Division I Power 4 school said, but who's the guy who took that bubble screen to the house? Ended up being a D1, top-notch, one of the best players in the country recruit. He was like a sophomore at wide receiver, so it was quarterback, wide receiver. And in looking at one, he discovered the other because the tape was efficient enough for them to see both, which was really, really nice. I thought it was really good. And there's some ideas. For Larry and I, we're looking at it from NSR when we evaluate, which is the number one thing about this company. Not the open enrollment, the evaluation. But it's also the same when you think about all the players in a bigger scope and all across the country, Larry, in all sports. How many folks these people are looking at 2 a.m, 5 a.m, middle of the afternoon, after lunch, just like all of us when you're tired and you're busy and you got a lot to do. Make sure that what they're seeing is their shot of Red Bull. You want them to be looking, okay, I got what? And that video there and a couple of those volleyball and your guy's speed, and I think it was Gabriel Torres is I think his name, that shows you what you need to see to tease them to even a bigger picture. And that's what we're trying to do here, Larry, as we wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's the highlight reel is just the door cracking open. You still got to walk through. You still got to bring the academic part of it. You still got to bring the fit part of it. But we want to get these coaches to open that door for you. And so let's use this highlight film as the thing that cracks the door open to get them to look further into the athlete and to learn more about that athlete. If they want full game footage, then the athlete and the coach can get that together where they can see them do everything. But let's crack the door open with the best material that we've got at the beginning where we get these coaches fired up about this athlete.
And remember, NSR, pro editing, go in there and get it done right. It's part of what we do here at NSR. And as you continue to push forward, and make sure you're changing that at times too. If something new comes up, make sure they're seeing it. Especially if they come back and say, man, I'd love to see more of it. And then you show something they wanted to see, bam. Now you've teased them to the next level. And I assure you, with all that they've got to do, those stick out and matter. For the athlete, aside from taking care of your business and real games and your academics and your family life, when it comes to recruiting, that initial tape could not be more important. Mm-hmm. The initial evaluation will carry, because there's some, you may be a great player, but if you don't give me your best until number 15, you may get left out on a place that you thought you could play. And you don't want that to happen. This is Recruiting Unfiltered. Larry, great stuff, great insight. Just a little, you can always contact us, obviously. You see the website, and Larry's there. We're all there for you, but also make sure you take care of your business, not only during the season, the off season, and your video and the evaluation needs to be at the top of the list. Regardless of how you feel, we're telling you what's real. And that's exactly what you'll get here every single week on Recruiting Unfiltered. He is the executive director. Larry Perrin is of NSR. I'm the national football director at NSR. And we'll be back to do it again next week right here on Recruiting Unfiltered. Thanks to Larry. Thanks to Brett. I'm Sean. We'll see you next time.